On this Sunday night, 11th inning heartbreak for the Blue Jays and their fans. A David and Goliath World Series that united an entire country. The Toronto Jays go down to defeat but generate national pride in an historic run.
It's not all, sadness, I guess.
The Prime Minister prepares to unveil his first budget.
We will make generational investments.
Why new polling suggests his economic plan may please no one. Plus, the U.S. president threatens military action against Nigeria over claims of violence towards Christians. And an ounce of prevention, why doctors say older Canadians need to get the RSV vaccine.
Global National. Reporting tonight, Colleen Christie.
Good evening. Thanks for joining us. Blue Jays fans are processing their feelings today, reflecting on what was an agonizing end to the World Series. The Los Angeles Dodgers beat the Blue Jays 5-4 in extra innings during last night's do-or-die Game 7. Adding to the emotion for players and fans, it looked like the Jays were about to win their first World Series in 32 years. Toronto was in the lead going into the ninth when it all fell apart. Still, it was an epic game full of pride and pain. Tonight, Eric Sorensen looks back at last night's crushing loss, but also at how the Blue Jays team spirit captured the hearts of Canadians from coast to coast to coast.
For only the umpteenth time this season, the Toronto Blue Jays made hearts soar across the country. But in the team's 180th game, the ultimate jubilation was just out of reach. The Dodgers' home runs, the decision to slide on a force play at home, and the fly ball that was caught. And in the blink of a splintered bat, suddenly it was over. For the fans and for the players who'd come so far and came so close, it was crushing.
The heart that this team had, the way we cared for each other, this is gut-wrenching.
Just such an unselfish group, a very close-knit group.
After the game, just looking up in the crowd and seeing all the distraught fans because they believed in us.
As heartbreaking as this was for the Blue Jays, you talk to anyone out here and they'll tell you this was one of the best series and one of the best final games that they've ever seen in the World Series. There was high drama in every game, and Los Angeles earned the title, winning 3 times in Toronto.
It's probably the craziest thing I've ever been a part of. I think in all the World Series, that has to be one of the craziest series there's ever been.
Part owner of the Dodgers, basketball legend Magic Johnson, has been around some big moments in sport.
How does this compare with those?
Oh, this was just as big as my moments. Me hitting a hook shot against Boston. I mean, this place is probably the loudest stadium I've ever been in.
Baseball got this right. I think these are the 2 best teams.
Former Blue Jay Kevin Pillar was conflicted, a painful loss in an epic contest.
As a baseball fan, you watch something, historic. It was, it will go down as one of the greatest World Series games of all time.
The future for some Jays is now uncertain.
Yeah, I'll remember this group forever.
Bo Bichette will be a free agent.
I think this group taught me what a team is. I think it's probably the most valuable lesson in my career.
I hope I have another chance with this group. I really do. I love this group. I love these guys.
And they love playing here. Ernie Clement cried for an hour and was still in his uniform long after the game.
It's really special, and I don't take a second for granted out there. I really do love what I do.
I think Blue Jay fans for generations are going to remember this team, not just what we accomplished, but how we went about it.
Beyond the outfield wall, after most everyone had gone home, Vladimir Guerrero Jr. gathered with people close to him. He shared a reflective moment with us. You think you gained some confidence from how well the team played this year right up to the end?
Yeah, we lose the World Series, but we got to continue.
He will be back, leading a club that redefined teamwork and cherished the joy of playing the game. Eric Sorensen, Global News, Toronto.
In an online post, Prime Minister Mark Carney labeled it a heartbreaking result, but congratulated the Blue Jays for the team's, quote, tremendous season, for battling to the end, and wrote the team has made all of Canada proud. U.S. President Donald Trump called the Dodgers incredible champions, inviting players to the White House once again, as per tradition. The Dodgers are the first team to win consecutive titles since the New York Yankees did so in 2000. And the come-from-behind win sparked pandemonium on the streets of LA. The excitement also fueled unruly and chaotic celebrations that saw vandalism, looting, and a Metro bus set on fire. The Blue Jays may have lost the World Series, but they won the hearts and admiration of fans from all over, proving they really are Canada's team. Global's Lexi Benedict is in Toronto and went out to speak to the Jays faithful about how they're feeling.
It's a heartbreaking end to what's been an unforgettable postseason run for the Toronto Blue Jays.
Toronto is sad for tonight, but we got this. We got the passion. We'll bring it back next year.
It's a roller coaster of emotions right now. Over here, I can't even put it into words right now. I think it's going to take some time.
Fans didn't get the championship they've been waiting 32 years for, but this team went further than many expected.
We didn't really expect this out of the Jays at the start of the season, I'm not going to lie. They came out, they played their hearts out.
It's still great that they made it to the World Series. That's like the best thing, right?
It was sad, but no one expected them to get this far, so you got to be happy.
With a postseason of highs and lows that kept Canadians glued to every game. A historic Game 7 with tension until the very end. The Dodgers tying the game in the 9th and extra innings left fans on the edge of their seats, both inside and outside Rogers Centre. Crowds gathering around screens in the streets of Toronto, and thousands braving the cold at Nathan Phillips Square, hoping the Jays could bring home their first World Series title in over 3 decades.
I'm just happy to be here, man. Honestly, World Series, Game 7 in Toronto, what a time. Just happy to be here.
Sunday morning, a quiet day outside the Dome. Fans still feeling the sting of a Game 7 loss, but there's a stronger sentiment in the air. Pride and gratitude for what the team has done for the city and for the country.
Game 7, they were right there, fighting for it right until the edge, like last inning.
We went the second furthest. So, yeah, it's disappointing, but it was a good year. It was a nice way to finish the season.
And while it may not have ended with a World Series championship, it's been a postseason that has given millions a reason to celebrate.
A lot of teams counted us out. A lot of analysts counted us out, but we came in, World Series Game 7, probably the best game there ever was.
It was just a great experience, and I'm grateful that we got to be a part of it.
This team has united this country, with Canadians from coast to coast tuning in to watch every magical moment of this postseason. And while it didn't end the way fans were hoping it would, it certainly makes them proud to know how far this team has come. Lexi Benedict, Global News.
In Ottawa, Prime Minister Mark Carney is getting ready to reveal his government's first federal budget on Tuesday. Carney has already said his budget will focus on generational investments, but has also warned it'll require sacrifices too. And as Jillian Piper reports, new polling suggests Canadians may not be on board.
This is our moment to define our next century.
Prime Minister Mark Carney will soon be facing his biggest domestic test so far.
I am 100% confident that this budget is the right budget for this country at this moment. This is not a game.
Carney says sacrifices will be necessary as he attempts to transform the Canadian economy with his budget next week, which is already fueling attacks from the opposition.
No compromise from Mr. Carney whatsoever to make for an affordable budget and an affordable life.
And exclusive Ipsos polling for Global News shows that pitch is also not landing with many Canadians.
They don't personally want to sacrifice. In fact, they want to see their own standard of living and their month-to-month costs, day-to-day costs, improve, running the government better and more efficiently, and reducing their taxes. They would rather see that.
According to the recent polling, Canadians' top priorities for the budget are help with everyday expenses at 42%, lower personal taxes at 32%, followed by reduced overall government spending at 27%, and action to mitigate U.S. President Donald Trump's tariffs lands at 25%.
Anything that can help drive domestic Canadian economic growth is going to be a priority at a time when we're pretty clearly struggling with the relationship on the trade front.
Carney has promised generational investments to help pivot away from the United States and to boost national defense spending, which means there may be less room for affordability measures and tax relief.
Lowering a rate costs a lot of money, and so I don't think that the federal government really has a ton of fiscal room to be able to do a lot more.
Economists are predicting the federal deficit will grow, but the Ipsos polling shows 7 in 10 Canadians believe it's important for the government to maintain a balanced budget without running a deficit. And 6 in 10 say Canada wouldn't need deficit spending if the government were better managed. Jillian Piper, Global News, Ottawa.
Those generational investments Carney is focusing on would also boost the federal government's spending and Canada's ballooning deficit. David Aiken has more on the potential price tag. David.
Well, Colleen, the economy is shrinking. You can blame U.S. tariffs for that, but that unavoidable economic fact means that Tuesday's budget is going to have one overarching mission: reverse that trend and grow the economy.
This is, it is growth. It is capital investment. And will we get the returns on that investment? Will we see the private sector kick in? Will we see the growth in GDP and the upward tick in budgetary revenues?
I think it really needs to be a budget that focuses squarely on productivity and business investment.
But how to boost that investment and kickstart a flagging economy? It will involve opening Ottawa's purse strings.
We will make generational investments with a plan to protect our communities, our borders, our way of life.
Spending on defense, spending to spur home construction, spending to hire more RCMP and border officers, spending that could see the federal deficit jump from $52 billion last year to $75 billion or more.
Carney's costly budget this week will likely double Trudeau's deficits. This is the cost of Carney. Every dollar he spends comes out of your pocket. The more he spends, the more things cost.
But bond markets, economists, and the Prime Minister himself say Canada still has room on its credit card.
Our government has the fiscal capacity to act decisively, and we must draw on these strengths now.
There is definitely room to grow the deficit in this environment.
But not all spending is equal. The Carney government must show that increasing deficits will pay off with economic growth and a rising standard of living.
The question really is about the direction that is being taken and that can be expected in the medium to long term. We don't want to be on a path towards persistent and consistent deficit deterioration.
Now, this is a minority government, and for the government to survive and be able to carry through on its plan, it is going to need any one of the 3 opposition parties to get on board and vote for bigger deficits. Colleen.
David Aiken in Ottawa. Thanks, David. The U.S. president's latest target. Coming up, why Donald Trump is threatening U.S. military action in Nigeria. And what British police are saying about a mass stabbing that unfolded on a train bound for London. U.S. President Donald Trump is threatening military action in Nigeria over what he says is the mass killing of Christians by Islamist extremists. While some Nigerian leaders welcome the U.S. assistance, others are pushing back against claims Nigeria doesn't tolerate other religions. Candice Cole reports.
U.S. President Donald Trump has threatened to go into Nigeria, quote, guns a-blazing if the government there fails to stop the killing of Christians, according to his Truth Social post Saturday. He's also threatened to cut off aid and assistance. Last week in a separate post, Trump designated Nigeria as a country of particular concern, saying Christianity is under existential threat there. Now, Secretary of Defense Pete Hegseth is preparing for possible action on the ground.
And I think it's time we do something to stop all these killings.
For me, it's very important they come in, because this has been happening for a couple of years now. Nothing has been done. So I feel if Donald Trump said they don't want to come in, they should come in, and there's nothing wrong with that.
For over a decade, tens of thousands of Nigerians have been killed at the hands of Islamist extremist groups, including Boko Haram. Prior to Trump's threat of military intervention, Nigeria's President Bola Ahmed Tinubu said in a statement his administration has been working to address security challenges across faiths and regions since 2023. He says painting Nigeria as religiously intolerant is a mischaracterization. Experts say Christians are not the main victims.
This is not a Christian genocide because the facts don't support it. Most of the victims of Boko Haram violence are Muslims. This is why we said it's not right, it's not good, it's not helpful to narrow this conflict, to narrow it down to religion.
Trump warned Nigeria's government, quote, better move fast. President Tinubu says he's committed to working jointly with the U.S. to protect communities of faith. Candice Cole, Global News, Washington.
In the UK, a man has been arrested after allegedly carrying out a mass stabbing attack on a train. The attack happened last night while the train was en route to London, forcing it to make an emergency stop. At least 11 people were injured and sent to hospital. 2 remain in life-threatening condition. Police say the suspect is 32 years old. There are no other details on his identity or a possible motive, but authorities have ruled out terrorism. In northwestern Mexico, a fire at a convenience store has killed at least 23 people, including children. It happened Saturday in the city of Hermosillo. Officials say most of the deaths were the result of smoke inhalation. Still no official cause, but some local media are blaming an explosion from a faulty electrical transformer. Ahead, the warning and advice for older Canadians as we head into virus season. It's here, respiratory virus season. As healthcare teams brace for an uptick in illness, Canadians are being urged to do everything they can to protect themselves. For seniors, that includes getting an RSV vaccination. Health reporter Catherine Ward reports on why doctors say getting the shot can make a big difference if you do get sick.
I was pretty sick for a good couple of weeks. Very phlegmy, aching all over, fever.
Nancy Williams thought it was just a cold when she got sick last year. Instead, she had contracted respiratory syncytial virus.
I was not able to leave the house. It was hard, I live alone.
RSV usually causes mild symptoms, which include coughing, sneezing, fever, and decreased appetite and energy.
So RSV is a respiratory virus that affects thousands of people annually. It circulates between October and May. There are 23,000 hospitalizations annually for RSV in Canada.
By the age of 2, most children will have experienced an RSV infection. However, infants, people aged 65 and older, and those who are immunocompromised are at a greater risk for developing more severe forms of the illness.
If you end up in the hospital with an RSV infection, and if you survive, the chances of you leaving the hospital in the same condition that you entered, that's slim.
The mortality rate, unfortunately, in patients who had RSV was about 30%, and that compared to about 26% in those who had influenza and about 9% in the general population.
Doctors say approved RSV vaccines could make a difference in the year ahead.
The complications of RSV can be prevented because there are vaccines available. So there are vaccines that are licensed for people either over the age of 50 or over the age of 60. So it is possible to prevent these complications.
Coverage for the vaccine is not uniform across the country and can be as much as $350. Doctors say they still encourage patients to think about getting vaccinated.
There's also a cost to not being vaccinated. And if you ask any patient who suffered from a vaccine preventable disease, they would pay anything to go back in time and provide themselves coverage.
Catherine Ward, Global News, Toronto.
Next, bigger than baseball, how the Blue Jays honored a Dodgers player absent from the series. A unique moment during last night's Oilers game in Edmonton. The crowd was paying more attention to the Blue Jays game shown live on the Jumbotron rather than the action on the ice. Even superstar Connor McDavid was distracted.
It was bizarre. I found myself watching the Jays game, sitting on the bench, listening to the crowd while I'm on the ice, what just happened. Couldn't be more gutted for those guys. Obviously we know what that feels like.
A lot has been said about how special this group of players is and how close-knit they are. And if you didn't look closely, you may have missed a subtle show of humanity and brotherhood that went beyond team loyalty. On the hats of the Jays relief pitchers over the past couple of games, the number 51, not for one of their own, but a show of support for an opposing pitcher, the Dodgers' Alex Vesia, who had to miss the World Series while he and his wife deal with a deeply personal family matter.
Instead of being mad that I struck out, I was kind of going back to the dugout thinking, did Bassett play with Vesia at any point? And then obviously after the game, I saw that everybody had him. Man, for those guys to do that, it's incredible.
And that is Global National for this Sunday night. I'm Colleen Christie. Tonight's Your Canada is the enthusiasm and pride shown by Blue Jays fans during last night's game. Not the result we wanted, but this was still one of the most entertaining and galvanizing seasons in the Jays' history, attracting a whole new legion of fans right across the country. Thanks for watching. Jeff Simple will be at the anchor desk tomorrow. Have a great night.